China frequently. You're currently a visiting scholar at the BOAO Forum. So let me ask you, what are U.S. CEOs hoping to hear in forums like the one that just wrapped up?
I think that there are a number of things they're looking for. China has made some good improvements in its IPR protection laws, which has probably been the #1 thing that foreign companies like the US companies have been concerned about. However, one thing that is not so good is still the payments that one can get if you win a case are rather small. So the amount of money you can get if you win a case needs to increase. The other thing is one needs to do more simply to advertise how much better IPR protection has gotten in China. A second thing that's needed is that while China's laws have improved a lot, sometimes the extent that they're fully uniformly applied is not totally optimal, and this could be improved a little bit. Along with this, the implementation of laws is a little different in different provinces. This is a legal way to do things in China. It's just that it varies a little bit from province to province, and this makes it complicated for foreign companies to learn a lot. Also, some foreign companies complain a little bit about maybe being discriminated against in government procurement, and this is something that was discussed at the forum and that China is taking action on, but probably more progress could be made there. And finally, transfer of profits abroad, if you're a foreign company, is something still that's rather challenging from China.
Carl, let's talk about the tensions between the United States and China. It seems like one step forward, two steps back. We saw the leaders of both of these countries meeting in the San Francisco Bay Area in November. That's obviously a positive sign. But then more recently, you saw on Capitol Hill this vote on TikTok. Can you talk about how that's impacting U.S. and Chinese investors?
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that one of the few things that the Republicans and Democrats seem to be able to agree on at the moment is not being so positive towards China, and I think this is really unfortunate. If I get sick, my children don't care if the medicine that cures me was developed in China or was developed in the US. So for the whole world to be better off, we need to try to collaborate more. The November meeting was a real positive sign in recent times of China-US collaboration, but we need more things. Right now, I'm at the BOAO Forum in Hainan, which is the largest meeting of leaders from companies from China and around the world. This is a really great possibility for people to get together, which can help solve these problems of collaboration. A lot of misunderstanding happens when you do not meet people in person. So it's great. We need more things like this. Finally, you mentioned about this TikTok thing. I think that the U.S. has been trying to suggest that too many things are strategically important industries that are very sensitive. I think it's fine that countries say in certain strategically important industries we need to limit investment. But we need to use that word carefully and when it really is strategically important. It's been applied to companies, even like clothing companies. And so we need to make that more limited. That's what I'm looking forward and hoping will happen, but it's probably not going to happen instantly.
And Carl, you talked about the difficulties of kind of navigating the ins and outs of working in China. Now, the two sessions recently concluded, and we heard of more opening up on the part of China with the lifting of restrictions on foreign investment when it comes to manufacturing and a relaxation of some restrictions when it comes to healthcare and telecommunications. Are CEOs seeing this as an encouraging sign?
Yes, it's definitely encouraging that China has substantially decreased the industries that one cannot invest in or have to have a joint venture, and decreased also the requirements of, for example, if you want to sell in China, needing to produce, etc. So China has taken big steps in liberalizing. There's still more steps that could be taken, but it's surely a trend in the right direction. Another thing that is really good to see is China pushing forward with some different experimental areas. So I'm in Hainan now. There's a Hainan free trade port, which is having a lot of experimental policies so that you can bring in products without really importing them, but also bringing in services. It's really the services they focus more on, even financial services. So I think this is one of the good things that China's done. Experimentation in smaller areas, seeing what works, and then expanding it from there.
And Carl, I know you study the transformative stage that we are in right now. We heard during the two sessions a lot about these new quality productive forces. That theme is really a driver as China looks to the future. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, New Productive Forces is talking about moving from China being the factory of the world, which is just trying to be efficient, to really doing more innovative and value added things, which one needs if China's going to be able to pay higher salaries that workers are demanding these days. And so, this is something that has been pushed forward since last September. A lot of my research is focusing on what management practices companies can use to be more innovative, particularly companies in China. And there are a variety of different things, but to give just two examples, one thing that Chinese companies can do is that they can try to work on increasing the horizontal flow of information and not just the vertical flow of information. Chinese companies are only very good with vertical flow of information, from like a manager to a basic employee in the marketing department, not so good horizontally from the marketing department to, for example, the R&D department. The Chinese company Great Wall, which is a producer of cars, has come up with an interesting idea to have people physically sitting in cross-functional location based on the product of car that they're working on. They're still reporting to the same people in their functional silos, but they're sitting with other people. And this creates good sharing of information, which is critical to drive innovation, which is a key new productive force. So that's one example of what one needs to do in China to drive innovation. I can give lots of other examples if you have time, but I know we're a little short of time.
Well, we are short of time. That's going to have to be saved for a future conversation. I hope you do get a chance to enjoy the beaches there and enjoy the nice sunshine. Carl, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.